what unfolds tonight, shall we say. Brought one of these and thinking something slightly different tonight. Let's see if I can move this back just a smidge. That might be better. Somebody asked me the other day about vodka. Do I have vodka? I do have vodka. Getting there. Anyways. Yeah, so I'm thinking nothing special tonight. Last night that should be fair. A little bit of water, shall we say? Last night I had some of this, and then I finished the rest of it today. There was only yay much left. That was fun. Oh, bloody hell. I always keep Mountain Dew at home. It's the best for when I have headaches. So I sit a lot and I type, and I think these tense up. And with a lot of sitting and the tense, I think there's a lot of tension which causes headaches. I don't know what it is. Long story short, Mountain Dew works better than anything else for me and my headaches. And then when I feel the headache has slightly subsided, a nice warm, I don't normally bath, but a nice warm bath does wonder. No, wait. Aussie? No, I'm not Aussie. Born South African and I live in America. Joyce Page. Hey, thanks for joining. And no way. Oh, no, that would be so boring. Why would anybody want to live with me? Come on. State, North Carolina. There we go. And that would be it. So, cheers, mates. Have a fantastic Wednesday evening tonight. Yeah, it's Wednesday. I'm kind of on vacation, so don't hold it against me. Is it up there? Waco, Texas. Yeah, so I was in Dallas 2019, but anyways, let's not go there. I love Texas. I think it's amazing, the parts that I saw. But anyways, yeah, so it's very dreary at the moment. It is raining. It's been raining for the past 3 days. I thought it would have stopped, but apparently we're only getting a little bit of sunshine again on what, Friday or something ridiculous. So, you know, I'll take it. Cheers. We week before last, we were in the 80s, and last week we dropped from 80s to probably 56, 55, somewhere there. It's horrible. So yeah, it's awful. So I've been living in the US for about 15 years, and long story short, I went back 2 years back, and it was 100% better than what it was when I left. So to give you an idea, no, it's not. It's not perfect. There is a ton of stuff going wrong there, but it is 100% better than what it was or what I remember. But then again, I was there for 2 weeks, so I don't know, to be honest with you, how things are going, what's going on there, and so on. All I saw was there's this politician Julius Malema, and he's picking up in people are starting to seriously follow him, and so on. Can you own guns then? No, in 1992 or 1994, they took away most people's guns. So if you had an heirloom that was passed on to you, regardless of whether it worked or not, they took it away from you. You can own a gun, but you have to jump through several hoops to get there. I'll tell you who owns guns in South Africa. It's primarily the criminals, and it is atrocious what's happening there, because a lot of those people, when I say those people, I'm referring to criminals, that is, they're able to disappear where no one can find them, and yeah, it's a terrible thing, but it's one of those things. Yeah, you're spot on, mate. I'm staggered by what's happening there. When I say I went 2 years back, and it was Mark Wright, UK. Oh, maybe I need to read the view message. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. Unfortunately, that's exactly what's happening, which is just staggering, mind blowing. I'll let this one show. So here's the thing. It's not a racial thing. I guess there are parts of it that are completely racial, but it's not a racial thing, because it's the same people who do the same harm in black communities as well, which is just sad. Somebody that wants your wallet could care less what color you are. But yeah, they are a lot of people, unfortunately, farmers being really traumatized by what they're doing. I know there are a ton of people drawing a lot of attention to it, and it's how things should be. But I also think about it this way. I'm not saying everybody that is currently in South Africa that wants to leave, they're able to leave. We're very fortunate, my wife and I, and the kids. But what I am saying is, I think that the stuff, let me explain it this way. So South Africa was a very peaceful country. There was virtually no crime whatsoever. And then the 92 referendum happened, which we said, hang on, we want everybody to have equal rights. And then after that, the 94 elections happened, which was transfer of power went from the National Party to the ANC, African National Congress. And Nelson Mandela, I have only respect for him. He was a fantastic president. He was somebody that people could look up to. He was a wonderful person. I was in his presence once, but only once. When I say in his presence, he walked past and we said hello. But he was fantastic. And then Thabo Mbeki came in, and he wanted black empowerment. I think it was called Black Empowerment something, BEE something, where companies were forced to have X number of from your higher levels down to the lowest level. It had to be split. So it was no longer a thing of who's best for the position. And some of it was, I would say, people needed to be, people that were disadvantaged needed to be brought up to a certain level where they would have a certain amount of knowledge and so on. And that was a good thing, not a bad thing. But there were a ton of racial tension, which I personally did not approve of, like when I left South Africa. And when I went back in 2021, it felt more like a, a country more united. That's maybe a nice way of saying it. It felt like a country united. And you still have those huge criminal activities, but it didn't feel like it was this group of people versus this group of people, which I cannot ever approve of. I will not ever, nor can I ever. To give you guys an idea, my dad in the 80s used to take some of the disadvantaged people. He would go and study with them in the public library because they did not have electricity at their homes. And 8 o'clock, the public library would close, and my dad would sit with them well, he was studying as well. That's the most amazing thing, by the way. My dad studied until he was, what, 50 or something? He was quite an amazing man, but he would sit and people would say to him, well, why do you do this? And he said, hold on. We need to understand that these things are changing. And if we do not change with them, if we do not drive the change, we'll get left behind. So my dad was a forward thinker, quite a sharp gentleman, well respected, and I'll always look up to him. He's one of the greatest human beings I've ever had the honor of being with. So, anyways, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, Julius Malema, I think he is I don't think he is a fantastic leader. I think he placates to a group of people, and the group of people's growing in numbers, unfortunately. But I think he's an absolute horrid of a person. I cannot respect him. He talks badly and he's a racist, so I'll never support him. And by the way, he's not allowed in the US, if I remember correctly. He's not allowed to. So even if he becomes president of South Africa, he will not be allowed to fly to the US, if I remember correctly. Anyways, that's gone a little bit off the normal conversation now, didn't it? A little bit of vodka and orange juice goes a long way. Goes a very, very long way. On an evening like today, or on an evening like this, goes a long way. I think today was very relaxed, in my opinion. It was very, very comfortable. So I'll take that every single day of my life. But yeah, here's to, what is this? This is Wednesday. So here's to tomorrow's Thursday, Friday, even though it doesn't really bother me because I'm not really working all that much. I'm working a smidge, to be honest. So, life is good. Definitely good. Yep. Okay. So looking at, where did I leave my phone? Looking at the there was a comment early on one of my videos, and I wanted to highlight that. I hope you guys don't mind. Let me get here. And you know when you can't read with your glasses on, but you can't see far without your glasses? Growing old is just, it's just one of those things, isn't it? So I'll do this. And I'll do this. So this was let me just see if I can make this a little bit bigger. So this is Freddie Again. At Freddie Again 3843. And he said, would I mind talking about Bauhaus? All we ever wanted was everything. It is a phenomenal song. I have it. It's on this album, The Sky's Gone Out. And the song is coming from a, well, when you think about it, it's the post-punk era. So post-punk, Bauhaus was formed. Peter Murphy, one of the geniuses of the 20th century, started this band, and this is their second album, and the album is so good from beginning to end. There's really no denying it. It's possibly one of the best gothic bands ever, best gothic albums ever. But yeah, so I'm gonna agree that was a fantastic song. I have no idea whether he was able to join, but I will send him a message that I did talk about the song a little bit. It's a fantastic experience. So yeah, it's this amazing thing where music is this fantastic unifier. Music has this ability to bring people together rather than push them away. And I think that in today's world, today, right now, it's more important to stick with the things that pull us together rather than push us away. Well, that's just my opinion. You know, I think there are so many good things in life, rather than just focusing on all the bad stuff. So that's, in some ways, I guess, a decision we all have to make. But Bauhaus is one of those bands that pull people together. It's a fantastic band. So if anybody has a question, please, by all means, fire away. Last night, yes, they are. Bauhaus is, well, I think Peter Murphy is the only musician left. I don't think anybody else is currently making any music from the old Bauhaus crowd. Uh-huh. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, if you feel compelled to do so, it would be a good thing for you to listen to um, what needs to be said. I know there's a lot of large companies that refuse to allow firearms in the building, and they have countermeasures to prevent you from bringing firearms into the office. Me personally, I don't have an opinion. All I can say is my greatest fear is always what can go wrong, not what will go wrong. I listened to an argument. My wife brought this fantastic argument to the table where she said, so there was some school killing the other day, some idiot with a gun at a school, and I always try and internalize it where I say, well, what if it's my kids? Well, what if one of my kids' teachers had a firearm to protect themselves and their children? And I'm not stoking the firearm debate. I'm just saying, well, everybody's telling us, well, get rid of your firearms, get rid of them. And I come from a country where people were, their firearms were taken away from them, and I saw what happened. It was not fun. So, mate, I think it's fantastic that you have a firearm, but me personally, I don't carry one. Where I live in the US, it's still, I want to say, safe. I haven't felt the need to have one, so if things get worse, then we'll have a conversation about it at that stage. But until then, I feel compelled to not necessarily have one. But yeah, GPOI 7680, I support you wholeheartedly in your decision, and I think that's very brave of you. I think that's well done. So yeah, I just so you guys know, I know nothing about firearms. I've gone shooting at a gun range maybe twice in my life. I have I killed an animal with a firearm? I don't think I have, to be honest with you. I've never really gone hunting. I know I've got a couple of mates who said, come on, let's go, and so on, and I've kind of chickened out, to be honest with you guys, every single time. But I don't know. I think there's enough meat for me to eat, so I don't feel compelled to kill something. But I had a great conversation with somebody last night who had bison meat, which I thought was fantastic. I've never thought about it, so I am looking for bison meat because I've had deer, and deer was a little bit wild in my opinion, but maybe bison could be. He was saying it has very little cholesterol. So maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's something that I could get into. I don't know. I don't know whether I can get into deer meat. It's an acquired taste, in my opinion. Yeah. How we doing otherwise? How's the week gone for everybody so far? Take that as good. It has been a good week. It's been a bit cold here, and it's been rainy, just atrociously. Some of the stuff I wanted to do in the yard, still not done. There's a bunch of bricks in the front yard. I'm trying to build this like little area here in front, and I have been unsuccessful at doing it, to be honest. So yeah. I'm not seeing any new questions or anything else pop up. I don't know whether that's a good thing or bad thing. Never really sure, but anyways. So, vodka and orange juice tonight. I have to say, this reminds me to possibly, oh goodness, I had to have been 18, 20, 21, somewhere there. I know it's legal to start drinking in the US when you're 21. South Africa, back then, I don't know whether it's changed, but back then it was 18, and we would, on a Sunday, we would have wine with every Sunday. Every Sunday we would have a little bit of wine in a glass. So those days are probably over now. There's no ways even my kids were little when they came to the US, but they never had wine here in the US, except my eldest son. He turned 21, and I think he had a bottle of wine over a week or something. But anyways, be that as it may. And I was dating this girl, and she loved vodka and orange juice, and that's where it comes from. So I've always kind of had it since well, we were dating, what is it, 30 years back? My goodness, yeah, it's like over 30 years back. Oh, it's crazy how time flies. But yeah, 30 years I've been drinking this. Before that, we would go out. I think it was like, so 5 rand back then was about $1, and it was less than $1 a beer back then, and we would go out, and back then you'd get paid. I mean, I was a manual laborer, my goodness, I had nothing special that I was doing, but I would get paid on a Friday, every Friday. So Friday night, my mate and I, Wayne, we would go buy food, because we knew if we had money in our pockets, we would spend it on alcohol. So Friday night, food and a bunch of other stuff and so on. But then we would go to a nightclub, just have the best night of our lives, and have a couple of beers. By the end of the night, I probably did not have too much of my entire week's wages left. But it was fun, my goodness. Would I recommend that? I would never recommend that. But it was part of being young. It was part of being wild and fun, and it was, we were never crazy, but it was always good fun. I remember walking out of a nightclub 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning, and the sun was coming up. Back then I was living in a place called Hillbrow, and it was nothing like what it is now, but it was fantastic. And I remember we would walk home to the flat. My goodness, those were fun, crazy days, and I am so grateful that I survived those days. It was just a lot of fun. Yeah, I saw a couple of people smiling or laughing. I don't know whether that's because of the story or because you had a similar experience. But yeah, I remember those late, well, early 20s, not my early 20s, shall I say. Yeah, those were fun days. I remember my wife and I, we were just married, and we had a mate who lived in the UK. And I remember her and I, back then, this was prior to 2001. So we would, on a Friday night, jump on an aeroplane because she worked for South African Airways. So it was dirt cheap. It was just crazy fun. Her and I, we would jump on an aeroplane. She would have something to drink, like I don't know, Amarula cream or something. She would have something to drink, pass out and sleep. I would sit next to her because I couldn't sleep on the airplane. So I would sit from Johannesburg to Heathrow, and that would be, I think, a 10-hour flight if I remember correctly. I would sit there wide awake. The next morning, my mate would come pick us up at the airport. We would then drive around. He would show us stuff, do stuff, and so on. And we would literally, I don't know, do like 5 things and jump back in the car, drive to the airport, and fly back to South Africa. It was a crazy crazy time, but it was fun. Yeah, that had to have been, yeah, 90, 98, 99, somewhere there. Maybe 2000. But anyways, not important. And then when my eldest son came, we stopped traveling completely. We had a rule, kids first. And then Raymond, Zach, and Luna, all 3 of them, they were born. They started growing up. Luna was 8 years old. He was growing up. He started having his own life. Zach had his own life. Raymond had his own life. Everybody had their own lives. And then 2013, 2014, Haven was born. So we started over at scratch. So I'll be, 60 something when she's finished with school. But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be one hell of a ride, my goodness. So yeah, we shall see. I know her brothers, they're already very entertaining, shall we say. Let's just say they're very entertaining with her, keeping her on her toes and so on. So, but it's all good. Anyways, well, I suppose I've been waffling about for 33 odd minutes. It's been a crazy stream, my goodness. So, but I'll say thanks for joining to everybody, and I'll wish you guys a good evening. I'll say have a good evening. Cheers.